Hello everyone, it is Erin Floto here, and I am here to do 5 different spreads for your pets that I think are pretty helpful. So the first one that I'm putting together is a health visit spread. So this is meant to mark down your vet appointments, maybe your grooming appointments, if you have to do certain types of medications every month and things like that. So what I did is I created a top section that has space so that I can color code my pets. So I have 4 animals. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. So when I put this together, I decided, okay, I need to color code certain things because sometimes multiple pets are going to have visits at the same time. So it would be nice to use this in a compact area and just color code instead of writing out their names. And I have spaces for all 12 months, so you have 6 on the left and 6 on the right. So I have January through December. So this can be done in a long-term collections, or this can be done at the beginning of the year, things like that. And I've actually created this type of health visits not only for my pets, but if I wanted to include doctor's visits and things like that for myself, I could also include that in this type of system. And funny enough, I have this scheduled for August for Malia, Max, and Mason. And this is actually a true appointment. I have the annual plus vaccine, annual, and annual for the cats. However, and then I write the day in the color coding so that I know what day in August, because it is very, very not likely that the animals would have multiple visits in a month. So I think that 4 is probably the max that I would see. But Harley is actually limping a lot, so instead of her appointment being in September, I'm actually switching her with one of the cats. So I'm glad this was just an example and it wasn't like I did it in my actual notebook. However, I could always just white out that section and then put in the appointment for Harley. The second section is a pet profile. So this is kind of an all-in-one place. This is mostly geared towards dogs because it has information for flea and ticks and vaccines, heartworm medication, all that kind of stuff. And cats don't get all of that type of stuff that dogs get. So it is geared a little bit more towards dogs. I do have some printables available on the Archer and Olive blog where I wrote a little bit more in depth about all of these spreads. So I will link that blog post in the comments down or in the description down below. And then there is a freebie pet profile. One of them has the words on it and then the other one is blank. So you can implement it for your cats if you so choose. So I have a little section in the top left. So that is for a picture of Harley. I actually made a custom sticker of Harley because of how cute she is. And I did create stickers of all my other animals as well. But Harley I did first because I kept marking in my notebook how she's afraid of thunderstorms, so I actually made hers first. See, look at how cute she is. Oh my god. I love my Harley. She's my newfie. Anyways, so I have a section up at the top for her name, for her color, fur color, eye color, weight, and then microchip information. Harley actually does not have a microchip. It's something that we need to get done with her, but it's like not recommended for dogs unless you're already putting them to sleep. So we've not had a purpose for doing that, and I've been at home all the time, and she's pretty much connected to my hip, so I haven't had to worry about that since we got her during the pandemic. Then I have a section for vaccines, so you can put the date of the vaccine and the type of vaccine that they received. I have a background, which is just more information about maybe some issues that they may have. Harley, for example, is a newfie, and they typically have hip issues, and I think that might be one of the reasons why she is limping so much right now. So that just gives a little bit more information. For example, my cat Mason has had surgery because his urethra was too long, so he had to have corrective surgery for that. So I would include that background so that whenever I'm at the vet, I can just reference that really, really quickly instead of like trying to think, okay, when was that? What was the type of recovery on that? Things like that. And then I have a section for heartworm and flea and tick. If you wanted to do this in a long-term collection, which this actually would be really good for a long-term collection, I wouldn't write out the month. I would just have like one section be for 2021, the next for 2022, etc. So you wouldn't write out the entire month. That way you can get more years out of it. And then you just mark off when you gave them the heartworm and the flea and tick medication. So here is a doggy training schedule. So I'm not, I've never had my dogs in a dog training program. We just train them at home. So I don't know in depth how dog training programs work, but this is how the program that one of my friends, her dog did. So I have a section for the week number, because usually when you're doing a training program, it's like an 8-week course or something to that effect. I have the date of that particular week, so if it's on a Thursday, whatever, and then the commands that they were going over during that pet training. You can also have a column at the end to show like what they've mastered. So that I made this quite big so that like you could write in more information, so that like you can add comments to it. So maybe that they're really, really good at sit and stay, but they weren't really good at heel, and what problem areas they may have had. So I did have a section where you could like cross off for and now I'm like thinking right here, oh, what types of pet training is there? So I like couldn't think of another one. Because again, I've never done pet training, so I don't know what's realistic for the first training session. So Anyway, so you can mark it off, and then there can be a section for comments on like what they did really well and what they did not. So moving on, I also wanted to include a section for like dog training accomplishments. So I put together some of my progress stickers. I think these are the progress circle stickers, and they're in like the 4 sections. That way it can be 25% done, 50% done, 75, and 100% complete. So once they've quote unquote mastered that particular training topic, then you would be able to fill in that circle. I also have progress bars that are available, that is just like a single bar, so that if you are doing tons of different types of training, then you can use the bars and have more room. The final spread that I put together is the pet medical condition. So this is kind of meant for animals that have chronic conditions. However, it can be easily adapted for multiple types of animals and things like that. So for me, what I would probably do is add another column onto the end. That way it's not just like an entire history. It can be for all of my animals. And then I would color code it the exact same way that I did for the first one. So that way I just have one record, or I could do 4 different pages of this. But for me, none of my animals have like a super chronic condition. My cat Mason, not Max, Mason, like I said, has had issues when it came to his urinary tract. So for him, I did have to monitor him for quite a while, but he's pretty much handled at this point. I do have to like double check the litter box whenever I am cleaning it out and making sure that there's nothing off, because he's prone to different types of urinary tract issues. So this might be something that I would do for him, but for animals that have chronic conditions, having a whole list that you can easily reference, because I don't know about all of you, but for me, when vets give you a readout of like everything that happened during that vet visit, that can get to a lot of different types of papers, and just having like a really basic list of what type of symptoms they had, how the vet treated them, and like when the problem, quote unquote, went away. Maybe it's not something that it went away, but it like the issue has been like alleviated. And then I also have a section for notes and comments. So that is all 5 spreads. I hope this was helpful for you and for your furry friends. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, the Archer and Olive blog will be in the description down below. There is that free printable, so I will link that. And I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.